not in Kansas anymore.
You have my curiosity.
Are you telling me you built a time machine?
The Force will be with you. Assemble.
Welcome back to the Get Real podcast, the podcast where we get real about all our favourite pop culture films and TV shows. With me, as always, is my French-inspired co-host, Sam.
True. And this week, Chris, we're talking all about Snowpiercer, the Netflix TV series, the adaptation of the Bong Joon-Ho film. But before that, we have a little bit of news and bits and bobs to talk about, right?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. This is a bit of a new-ish format of show. We're going to do something called First Impressions, where we're basically going to take something like a TV series and we're going to watch the first two or three episodes, depending on how long they are. And we're going to give our impressions and see whether it is worth watching and going ahead with.
It basically just saves us waiting until the series has finished before we talk about it as a whole. It means we can get on it while it's hot.
Yeah.
And if people are interested, we can carry on talking about it.
Absolutely. And it means we can go spoiler heavy for the first two episodes, so you don't need to worry about too much in the series being spoilt for you. And then we might follow this up if we decided that it is worth a watch. We might follow it up with a more in-depth review of the whole series. Right? Do you want to move us on to some of the little bits of news that we've got to talk about before we get on to topic?
Following on from the last episode about the Snyder Cut, Henry Cavill will now be returning as Superman to the DCEU. It's officially been named that now, according to HBO Max anyway. He has now signed a contract to make cameo appearances and supporting roles in other films. We're not sure about a new lead Man of Steel film yet. But yeah, Henry Cavill's back.
Do you reckon this is leading up to maybe a Shazam 2 or the Black Adam film, maybe?
So the rumours are at the moment that the cameos might be in Shazam 2 after Shazam 1 left us with a headless Superman for a body double, or Aquaman 2, because they're the two sequels that are currently in the works. There's still rumours flying around about a Supergirl film, so people are thinking that might be the supporting role, because that was one of the ones slated originally.
Yeah.
After the Justice League trilogy, I think they were going to do Supergirl.
I think it's really tough to recast Superman. I think it's one of the harder jobs because, as of us anyway, like, Henry Cavill is the modern Superman. He is today's Superman. He was born for that role, really. A bit like how he was born for Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher series. It's just absolutely made for him.
When I picture Superman now, I either picture a cartoon version in my head or a picture Henry Cavill. Like you said, he was crafted by the gods to be Superman, wasn't he?
Plus, he's got a absolutely disgusting Warhammer habit that he needs to fund, and that's not a cheap hobby.
It's definitely not. We know that the hard way.
Yeah.
Lockdown is being spent well.
Plastic crack, as some people call it. There you go. Henry Cavill's one of us.
One of us.
One of us.
Yeah, so we have no word on a Man of Steel 2 yet, but I think that's probably going to be the next thing to be announced, probably down the line. They're probably just... because I don't think there's probably even a script for it. I know Zack Snyder had a couple ideas of where he would have taken Man of Steel 2, but there's no script or anything, so I don't think they're ready to announce or say that he's getting his own solo film on that anytime soon.
They may want to see how something like the Snyder Cut...
The Rob Schneider cut.
The Snyder Cut is received maybe before they start talking about him jumping onto like a Man of Steel 2 project and stuff, so...
Yeah, I think the one thing that everybody agrees on is is like how solid Henry Cavill's been. Like we always say, the casting's solid in this franchise. It's just too much messing about, too many fingers in the pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we know this. We know our absolute rule on it is leave the directors to direct.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's good news. Also, in the Henry Cavill rumour mill at the moment, the rumours being spread this week are that he is potentially in the runnings to be playing Wolverine, making an appearance in Captain Marvel 2.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's hogwash, to be honest with you. I think it's absolute bull. I think it was just people like, well, Henry Cavill's in like the limelight and stuff like this for the Snyder Cut, and obviously his contract was up in the air because this dropped literally the day before we heard rumours that he was in talks to sign a new contract, and then the day after he had signed a new contract.
Yeah.
I think it was people just, while they had the chance, just throwing out wild speculation there to get clicks.
Maybe getting a bit overexcited, maybe.
I mean, yeah, Henry Cavill would make a great Wolverine as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like we wouldn't want to see
Henry
it.
Cavill would make a great comic book character in general. You give him any comic book character, he would probably nail it, because he's got the physique.
Yeah.
And he's got the range, almost.
Yeah, and plus the vibe I get from Henry Cavill is he always like puts everything into his characters, doesn't he? He's like he's a big nerd, really, isn't he?
He is a big nerd.
So like things like The Witcher and stuff, he read The Witcher, he read the books, he played the games and stuff, and for Superman, he was reading comic books. It's a bit like how Zachary Levi went full in on Shazam. He's got that similar kind of drive, haven't they, from what we see?
Yeah.
So I think, I'd just chuck him into anything. Chuck him in anything.
I think he loves playing characters that he can delve into stories of, like anything with like a mythos behind him, anything that he can read up on. Like even when he was in Immortals and stuff like that, he was playing like one of the demigods from Greek mythology and stuff like that. So like he loves characters that he can do research on beforehand.
Would you want to see him as Wolverine, or have you got another actor in your head that you feel
he would be a great Wolverine? But
and what a better role to put him in the MCU as well.
I'm not saying like I'm one of these weird people where I want my actors separate, because there are plenty of crossover and stuff like that, but they're not in like lead roles. But I don't know, like we said, he is Superman for me now. So I don't really want him to be anything else, because like it will sort of like muddy the waters a little bit. Like Chris Evans had the time between like Captain America and Human Torch. I nearly said Captain Torch then. Captain Torch. Captain Torch. It's just made out of plastic with 2 double A's shoved in his back.
Oh no!
Same powers as the Human Torch though. He makes a lot of light and heat.
Gotta change those batteries every now and then, though. Swap them over with his rechargeables. He's a very environmentally conscious Human Torch.
Yeah, when he was first created in the 40s, he was a wind-up version of himself. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I would probably look at somebody else, just so that you got more people doing more roles and stuff. Like he is synonymous with Superman now. He is our generation's Superman.
There was a really strong rumour that Taron Egerton could have been Wolverine. I think a lot of people were going along with that as like a fan casting.
I do like him as an actor. I don't see him as Wolverine. I think there's plenty of other... I think he would make a better Cyclops. Or something like that. Also, like, the main thing about this rumour that like is bugging me, why would Wolverine first appear in Captain Marvel 2? Like, I know Captain Marvel in the history of the comics has had a tie to the X-Men, but it's only a very small tie. Like, that's how Rogue got to fly and stuff like that. She stole some of Ms. Marvel at the time's powers.
I mean, sometimes they'll say this and it'll end up being like a bloody post-credit sequence or something, you know what I mean? So just to tie everything in and get you excited for the next thing, because these films are quite far down the line, I think, when we start to get the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and stuff implemented into the MCU. I think it's a little bit further down the line, but we will see. We will see.
I'm trying to remember who people are saying for like Wolverine casting.
Tom Hardy, Taron Egerton, but I don't think
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, I don't think you're
Someone's
gonna
put Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, no, I don't think you'd get Tom Hardy anyway, because of the casting in Venom's too close. It's too close. Yeah. We'll have to see. I'm seeing
Scott Eastwood was a name getting thrown around for a while as well.
I've got faith in Marvel anyway, more recently.
Yeah.
So
they're definitely they nail most of the casting. Right. Okay.
Next little bit of news, or just an interesting topic to talk about. On one of the recent episodes, we talked a little bit about the Tenet trailer and how there's a giant plane at the end crashing into a building. We were a little bit on the fence of whether that was going to be real or CGI, but it was confirmed over the last few days that it is a real plane crashing into a real building.
So Christopher Nolan loves doing as much as he can in camera. So in the Dark Knight trilogy, like all of that was in camera. The truck flips, the hospital explosion, like they thought that wasn't going to happen to begin with. That's why you see Heath Ledger's reaction to it being what it is. Like he's just rolling with it like it's meant to blow. The hospital, like they've got this entire abandoned hospital, which they rigged to detonate, and it wasn't going off. So yeah, like as much as he can do in camera, he will do. So it doesn't surprise me that this is real. It was just a bit like, surely they haven't got an entire 747 somehow rigged it to drive into a hangar without somebody being in it and exploding it.
They probably have, when they shoot these scenes, they're probably like, right, whatever you do, if it doesn't go to plan, just stay in your role. Do not go out of role while the cameras are rolling, because if we fuck this up, it's going to be on your head. It's going to come out of your salary.
Definitely. And speaking of other weird in-camera things that people are trying to do, so have you heard that Tom Cruise is trying to get a film off the ground where it's filmed actually in space?
I have heard this, yes, and it is the most Tom Cruise thing that I think I've heard of recent time. Because it's just like how he does his own stunts. Of course he wants to do a film in space.
In the last Mission Impossible, he was flying the helicopter himself. He was doing like corkscrews in a helicopter, which you need like 80 plus or like 100 plus hours of flight training to do. And the one before that, the film started with him hanging off the side of an aircraft as it actually took off.
Yeah.
So it's only the next logical step that he would want to go to space and shoot in zero gravity and stuff. Well, he already did zero gravity, didn't he, for The Mummy?
Yeah,
when the plane was crashing.
Where else but up, eh?
They have now found the director for that. It's going to be Edge of Tomorrow's Doug Liman. Okay, action film in space with Doug Liman and Tom Cruise.
Why the hell not?
Why aren't IMAX selling tickets for that already? Because that's going to sell out.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. So it's probably not going to be another Mission Impossible film then, is it?
No, because that would probably be Chris McQuarrie directing that.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's going to be a big deal when it comes out, and I think you said to me earlier when we were chatting about this that SpaceX are teaming up with this as well.
Yeah. So Tom Cruise is working with Elon Musk and SpaceX to be able to get a rocket into some sort of atmosphere. It says outer space, but I think it'll probably be the upper atmosphere, sort of like the edge of the atmosphere, space station type thing.
Like what those privileged rich people can go on, those flights that you can pay like a couple of $1,000s to go on, and it just takes you up.
Probably.
Zero gravity experience for a little bit, you know?
Yeah, so it's going to be more than the vomit comet or whatever it's called, where... Yeah, the plane that simulates zero G, but you don't need an oxygen mask. It'll probably be like in the upper atmosphere so that you get weightlessness and you can see the horizon and stuff.
Knowing Tom Cruise, you probably will need an oxygen mask and he just won't use one.
Tom Cruise will just be like, do you know what? We're not really getting the shot that we're looking for here. Can we just like go to Mars and film this?
Be like, take me to the edge of death and then bring me back. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
don't worry, I'm a mummy with 4 pupils. It's fine.
So our last thing to talk about before we get onto Snowpiercer is the rumour that we had of Cate Blanchett being casted as Lilith for the Borderlands film. Borderlands is the video game. If you've not checked it out, give it a quick Google search. And yeah, that is actually confirmed news now. So I would say this is a big deal for a video game movie to actually officially have someone like Cate Blanchett attached to it. It's absolutely huge.
I think it's a super good get for it. And like Eli Roth's directing as well.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, really good. Like, obviously, a performance in bloody Thor Ragnarok was spot on. She's just gonna nail it. Like,
she's an Oscar winner for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, who else do you get? And we posted a little photo on our Instagram as well of just how perfect she actually is for this casting. It's spot on.
Yeah, that was like a month ago when it was rumoured, wasn't it? Or she was in talks.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a real fun Mad Maxy kind of film as well, so can't wait for that. My question for you, Chris, for those Borderlands fans that we have listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's combine Cate Blanchett as Lilith with another 3 Vault Hunters that we know from the Borderlands series, because we play that game. So, yeah. So which Vault Hunters would you want to see in this film?
The first one that I instantly went to was Flak, because Flak's really cool from the Borderlands 3. Have like a sassy robot character with like like that tames animals type thing.
Yeah.
You may not need his animal companions, but just having like a cool robot guy on the team would be pretty cool. He's sort of like your Groot stand-in or your Chewbacca maybe. I would maybe say Brick as well, and like get like a Dave Bautista or a Tom Hardy or something to play Brick would be pretty cool. I like Zero, but we've already got one masked guy with Flack, so we don't need a second masked guy. I would probably say one of the Sirens then, maybe like Maya or Amora or something, or maybe get like a few of the Sirens in there because there's quite a few in the canon, maybe not even some of the playable ones. Just get loads of Sirens in there. Make it all about the Sirens.
Yeah. So was Lilith in Borderlands, the original Borderlands?
Yeah, she was the original Siren you played as.
So she was with like Mordecai and stuff like that, wasn't she?
Mordecai,
And
Brick, and Roland.
Yeah. So either you go for that original lineup because they're probably the easiest people to actually cast, where you don't have to go crazy with the outfits and stuff like that. So that is one look at it. If I was to combine my choice of Vault Hunters, I would have Lilith. I would then chuck in Krieg the Psycho, because just that'd be so funny to see on screen. I'd then pick Zero the Assassin. He is a very funny, cool character.
Zero's cool.
Yeah. And then it's a tough one, really. I mean, I would probably pick someone like Flack or Mordecai, but I know we have to have a Claptrap.
That was a given. Like, I was thinking, like, having Psychos and Claptraps and like all your NPCs like Moxie and stuff like that, I was just taking as a given.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't choose Claptrap, because I was like, I know he's a playable character in the pre-sequel, but I was like, nah, like Claptrap's his own thing.
Yeah. Cool. Right.
Who would you get to voice Claptrap? Would you get the original guy, or would you get like a good comedian in maybe?
I think you'd have to go for the original voice actor. And I don't think that the voice actor for Claptrap would shun away any work to do Claptrap.
Oh, no, he would definitely do it.
Yeah, it just seems like such a fun role. And I would just look forward so much to just like the crazy things that like psychos say. And funny.
Who would you have as the villain in it then?
Oh, you could have Handsome Jack.
I was thinking Handsome Jack. Like, that would work so well for a film.
Or maybe for the first one, you have like some like stupid psycho or some bandit leader, or another vault hunter turns out to be the bad guy or something like that. And then at the end you have like a teaser for someone massive like Handsome Jack or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe. But I don't know if you maybe just like almost try and put all your eggs in one basket just to make this like a shit hot comic book film, to make sure that you get a good comic book film out of it.
Yeah, it's just a shame because everyone,
video game film.
Everyone wants to make us, everyone wants this franchise, don't they? So make it Crazy Earl. Make Crazy Earl a bad guy. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Right. That's enough. That's enough Borderlands talk. We've allowed ourselves that.
So we're going to talk Snowpiercer. We're going to talk the first 2 episodes. And yeah, we're talking all about Netflix's Snowpiercer. So where do we start, Chris, with Snowpiercer?
I reckon we just talk about the episodes for now as they are, and then maybe compare them to the film after that.
Let's give a little bit of context then. So there was the film from 2013. So not massively old, really, in the grand scheme of things.
No.
But it was a film by Bong Joon-Ho, who you may know from Parasite.
The master himself.
Yeah, absolute genius. And it is an adaptation of that film on a TV series, basically. It's very, very
I'm trying to figure out if this is more of a adaptation of the graphic novel, the original French graphic novel, because it seemed to have a lot more French influences, like French music and stuff like that, and a couple French characters in there.
Yeah.
But I haven't read it, so I don't know.
Well, I've not read the graphic novels. To be honest with you, I didn't even know this was based off a graphic novel.
Yeah, it's based off a French graphic novel called Le Transpersonnage. I don't speak French. But it came out in the 80s, and then after the film came out, like, it got English adaptations, and it's got sequels and prequels and everything to it, like proper fleshing out the universe and stuff.
Yeah. I think this actual series is very, very split down the middle. When you Google Snowpiercer for Netflix, which I've had to do a fair bit of, to figure out who people were in this film because I was like, I know them from somewhere. IMDb rated it 6.1.
Yeah.
And it seems a little bit torn. Like a lot of places are doing like, did you prefer the original or do you prefer the new one? So it's almost like people are a bit in the middle, which makes it interesting when you watch it because there's parts of this I can see why. There's parts of it where I have to tell myself that you've not seen the original Snowpiercer. So it's a weird one. But however, let's get straight into it. So I mean, episode 1 is very much like a bit of a world building. I like how it gives you a little bit of context as to why this train is a thing and what's happened in the world and why it's happened, which I think it kind of breezes over a little bit in the Snowpiercer movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got just like a written text at the beginning explaining like what happened to obviously get us on board the Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, like, it gives us very much the style of the artwork from the graphic novels is what it gives us. It's a nice little like recap, and then the way that merges seamlessly into the actual action starting.
Yeah.
Quite a nice intro, to be fair.
Yeah, I kind of liked how it was like an animated thing into the live action. It just kind of catches you off guard when it changes, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's pretty cool. So for those who have no idea what we're talking about and you've not seen the film and you've not seen a trailer for this, Snowpiercer is basically, as an elevator pitch, is a film based on class. It's about the world's kind of gone to shit. It's basically in another ice age, and the train is the Snowpiercer, and this is where the last of humanity is. The poor people are at the back, the richer middle-class people are across the rest of the train, and it is all about how two of these characters are trying to work through it, I suppose. It's about that. That's a big enough plot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Without going in too heavily. We're not going to mention any spoilers for things that happen in the film because we don't want to risk spoiling anything that happens in the TV show. It's literally just based off the first 2 episodes is what we'll talk about. So, I think the first thing as well, now that we gave a little bit of context, is the cast in this. What did you think about the cast?
So, a lot of the cast in this, I've not really seen much of their work before. Jennifer Connelly I've seen plenty of, and she's fantastic in it, I think. I think she's like definitely selling the role.
Yeah.
David Diggs, I believe is how you pronounce his name, who plays Andre. He's our lead. So he's replacing the Chris Evans character from the film.
Mm-hmm.
He seems pretty good in this. I haven't seen anything else that he's done. So
he's not been in
I didn't
too
really
much,
know.
to be fair. I think he's only been in a couple of things. He's done a couple of voiceover stuff. So he's been in Ferdinand, and he was also in Zootopia.
Yeah.
As of recently, I mean, he's a voice in Star Wars Resistance, which is pretty cool.
Okay, cool.
He was in Velvet Buzzsaw, so he's not really done anything like big on Netflix or anything as such. It's all been, in terms of films, it's been voiceover work. So I was impressed, to be fair. It's a tough one. I don't know whether he beats the Chris Evans character. I think Chris Evans takes it away from me because of it being Chris Evans.
I think a lot of people are judging very quickly as well. Like, so basically the events of what happened in these 2 films, like 2 episodes, sorry, barely even scratches the surface of what happens in like the first 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah, literally.
So it's very different. Like, and to be honest, that's kind of why I liked this a bit more, was because it's such a different take. Like, I don't know where this series is going to take it.
Yeah, to give you an idea, there's a bit where, so basically the way that they don't kill the people in the rear carriage. They stick their arm out of a train, freeze it, and then smash it with a hammer, and they take one of their arms. That happens in episode 2 of this, and it happens in like the first 5 minutes of the film. So to give you a bit of an idea of the pacing of it. But in terms of cast, there was quite a few faces in here that I recognised that I was like, I've seen them before, but it took me a while to like figure out who they were. So Stephen Ogg, and I've recognised straight away, he's the guy who is Trevor in the Grand Theft Auto series, but he was also in Breaking Bad,
Walking Dead,
and Walking Dead as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, I can't think of the guy's name who plays him, but Hector Salamanca from Breaking Bad was in here as well.
Yeah.
Which threw me off when he was talking and not dinging a bell. Like, I was just like, what?
See, I've seen him in a few other things where he does talk, so I was kind of okay with it. But like, he's like so rarely in stuff. Whenever you see stuff, you're like, this guy's a great actor. And he's been working in the industry for years as well.
Oh yeah, he's seasoned. Timothy Murphy was in here as well. He's a commander that shows up in the second episode. He's a real good actor. He's almost like the long lost twin of is it Viggo Mortensen? Is that right?
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry,
Aragorn.
Yeah, he's like the more seasoned looking Aragorn. They look very similar.
I don't remember ever seeing him in anything, but like now that you've said that he reminds me of Viggo Mortensen, I was like, yeah, I kind of get that. That's probably why he seemed vaguely familiar.
Oh, he was in Sons of Anarchy actually. That's where else I've seen him.
Okay. I haven't seen that yet. So.
Nah. I won't spoil what he does in Sons of Anarchy, but he's a cool character. He's a cool, edgy guy in Sons of Anarchy.
And there was Mike O'Malley as well. You know, the guy with the bald head and the beard.
Yeah.
So he was like in charge of the police division almost, or the security.
Mm.
And he's normally playing like the like comedic foil in most films, and then he was just playing this like super serious character in this. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Hello. Did you a nice change of pace?
Did you just notice that the doctor, who is the big guy with the ginger beard, who's been looking after
the real creep doctor?
Yeah, his name's Happy Anderson. And he's in the New Mutants.
Yeah. He's
going to be Reverend Craig in the New Mutants. He was also in Mindhunter. He played Jerry Brudos in Mindhunter. And I was like, he was another one of them where I was like, where have I seen you before? I've seen you in the beard just meant that I didn't recognize him. But he was also one of the henchmen in Gotham.
Yeah, Tweed, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he's been in quite a lot as well. So like I said, I mean, there's quite a lot of good actors in this, and also like new actors as well. I'll give you a little bit of a hint for what's meant to be coming. Sean Bean is in this.
What?
Yep, Sean Bean is in this. It doesn't say who his character is, but he is in 10 episodes of this.
Okay.
I think he's...
See, now that you've said that, I'm expecting another twist. So, like, there was a nice twist in this for anybody that thinks that they know what's going on in this series when you're going into it. Like, it definitely changes a whole lot, and I'm trying not to spoil anything, but in the film, Ed Helms plays Waylon, doesn't he?
Ed Helms?
Not Ed Helms. God damn it.
I was about to say from The Office.
Not Ed Helms. I'm going to have to get up the Snowpiercer cast list now. It's Ed Harris. That's why it's such a close name. So Ed Harris plays Wilford, the head of the train in the film. And I like the way that in this, it seems like Wilfred is a group of people, but they're pretending to be like this overarching guy controlling the team.
Yeah,
controlling the train. Yeah. And that was a real interesting twist, because now that's got me sucked into this narrative a lot more, because I don't know where it's going.
We can't assume that's true yet, because that might not be legit. That's a big hint.
That's what I'm thinking now that you've told me that Sean Bean might be in this. Well, I'm thinking, is there going to be a twist on a twist on a twist or something?
Well, has this been confirmed for another season already?
On IMDb, it's got a season 2 on it.
Because I think that's where Sean Bean might be. Because he's in 10 episodes from 2021. So
that will be season...
Yeah, rewinding a little bit, I think he's going to be in season 2. But still, you get Sean Bean in it.
Is he going to die?
Probably.
Is he going to get frozen to death and smashed into a million pieces?
They'll stick his head out of the hole, won't they? And then smash
I think that's a new one. I think we haven't seen him get frozen and shattered yet.
No.
We've seen him get crushed by a satellite dish, shot to death by arrows, pulled apart by horses. Literally, if you think of a way that somebody could die, he's died like that.
Yeah. Did you say the beheading in Game of Thrones as well?
Beheaded as well, there you go.
Literally. I think the only thing I've not seen him die in was The Martian. And I think his career died in that instead of him.
I think that's what we were all saying when we left that film.
Yeah, not his acting career, more like his actual career in the film as a scientist or whatever. So Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. So, what were your first impressions of this? Let's compare it a little bit to the film in terms of the vibe. And you enjoyed the film, didn't you? Because I quite enjoyed the film as well. Now,
I think the film's incredible.
Yeah, the film is incredible. It's very good. Obviously, pacing-wise, this is very different. And I think that's what I had to tell myself, because for me, the second episode of this just felt really, really slow. And it just felt full of filler. But you've got to understand that if you was to try and spread what happens in the film out across, 10 episodes or whatever, it's too much. It is just going to be full of filler. So I like in this how they introduce and you get more of the look of the people who repair the carriages when there's something going on, or you've got, you're building personality, you're seeing more stuff, you're seeing where there's the nightclubs and where they grow the plants and the food and stuff, and you're getting more of an insight into that. You're spending more time looking at it, and it probably makes it a little bit more, it world builds a lot, this, and I think that's what you've got to do with a TV series, don't you?
Yeah, and I feel like there's also more carriages on this version of the train, maybe.
Yeah, there's like over 100, isn't there?
Well, I think they said like there was 1,001 carriages or something like that. As I'm sure there was only like 101 or something in the film.
I'll tell you what, she gets from the front of that train towards the back faster than anything I've ever seen in my life.
Teleportation, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's cloning and there's a different one of her in every carriage.
Yeah, every 20 carriages or something, there's a different one of her.
The film is very much like we've got 2 hours to get from the back of the car to the front of the car, and it's the journey and it's what you're finding out about the people in all these different classes on the way there. Whereas this is taking almost like it's taking a murder mystery approach to it. Like the character of Aaron that gets taken from the back. Andre, not Aaron. He's like the only policeman on the train, and he's in the lower class because he just hitchhiked his way on because he was one of the poor people who couldn't afford a ticket. So they pull him out at the tail end, and he's on a murder mystery figuring out these 2 murders that have happened over the last 7 years, which is completely different, and it allows us to hop between the train a bit more, which is interesting because you see in the class structure a bit more defined, and how they interact and people's warped view on the situation and stuff like that a bit more. Instead of just obviously building classes and stuff like that, you're dodging between all the different ones. And it's nice being able to explore his character a lot more. They have a lot of reaction shots of stuff because obviously he's been in the tail section for 7 years. He hasn't seen the sun. He hasn't tasted food or anything like that in 7 years. The amount of times they are literally just hanging on this guy, really, really enjoying something.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that in there.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sold on it, but it's enough to keep me intrigued. I'm definitely going to keep watching this at the moment.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep watching it. I think I really enjoyed the first episode. The second episode, like I said, just felt really filler. Like I said, I like the twist where the train carriage got hit. And I like the twist where he's trying to note everything down at the end. I liked that. So I think it's definitely going to get more interesting as it goes along. I think because we've seen the film, we kind of have an idea of what is gonna come, I suppose, but I think this show might take a bit of a different way with it.
Yeah, see, there's so many twists in the narrative already from the film that I really can't predict what's gonna happen almost.
So do you reckon that people that haven't seen the film are probably gonna enjoy this more than what you would if you have seen the film?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking, because I think people are trying to compare it to the film too much. And I think the film is a great, isolated piece, and it works really well in its time frame and everything like that, and it achieves a lot of stuff in it. Yeah. Whereas this, they're obviously going to have multiple seasons. They're going to have 20 hours plus of this show. They're going to try and explore loads of different nuances and stuff like that. They're already touching on plot lines from the film and stuff, but they're twisting them in different ways. It's enough to keep me watching, but people need to now step away from the film, I think, to enjoy this. If they just think about the film the entire time, they're not going to enjoy this series.
No, I don't think so. I think it's more viewer friendly. I don't think it's trying to appeal to serious thinking. I think you're taking the world of Snowpiercer and banging it together with like a CSI show in a sense, aren't you? And I think that's because if you don't enjoy the grim dark of the Snowpiercer world, at least you have these detective parts that can keep you interested and keep that plot line going along.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that the like CSI like solving this case doesn't last maybe more than one season or something, because like if they just keep giving him different cases to solve and stuff on the train, it's not really going to work. Like I think the most interesting part about like the first episode and stuff was seeing how people reacted to him leaving, and then obviously the revolt starting and stuff. I think the stuff that is about class divides is the more interesting subject in this, rather than the murder mystery sort of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's really 50-50 at the moment. Like, my opinion's really 50-50 on the show. It's enough to keep me watching, but I'm not completely sold on it yet.
I feel like I'm getting too many vibes at the moment between these first two episodes. I feel like I can't tell whether I'm watching something that feels like Hunger Games versus something that feels like a gritty Snowpiercer film. And then I'm also getting senses of like murder mystery. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if it doesn't ground what this series is meant to be over the next few episodes, I might end up falling off. But I think for now, it's different enough where the actual world itself is interesting. The context of what's going on is interesting. And I want to see, out of curiosity, more than anything, about where it takes it, knowing how the film goes. I think maybe there's a lot of room still for the cast to solidify in my mind whether I think they're good or not. But
yeah,
I mean more in terms of the main protagonist probably. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's let's talk about would we watch or would we actually watch this or bin it. So we're gonna move on to a new famous rating section that we're gonna have for this new version of the show. It's gonna be, are we gonna bin it or binge it? So in the bin or in the binge list. So what do you say, Chris? Would you bin or binge this?
At the moment, I would say binge. I'm not ready to throw it in the bin yet because I'm still intrigued by the narrative. I think if you haven't seen the film and you're going into this completely blind, I think people would say binge. I think if you're too hung up on the film or maybe even the graphic novel, if you're like a true artisan like fan of the original source material, you might bin it off. But I'm going to say at the moment binge. Whether I still say binge at the end of the series is a different question.
Yeah, so you'd give it more than 2 episodes before you decide whether you don't watch it anymore. I think that's a fair judging. Like, I would say binge as well, because I do think I need to give it more than 2 episodes, because I think it's just started to get the ball rolling now.
Yeah, I think the first episode has to set up a lot, and it does quite a bit. Like, I was surprised by it. Felt like the episode went nowhere because they were doing so many things. And then obviously, because that's how a pilot works for a show, isn't it? Like, the first episode needs to hit you and it needs to grab everyone. And then episode 2 seemed to like just fall into the rhythm of this is like the pace the show's going to go at.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it was quite jarring watching episode 1 and 2 back to back. It was kind of like it all of a sudden like hit the brakes almost. The train slammed on those brakes. There was a red signal and it was just avalanche ahead. So they had to like slow down the pace because this is how the story's going to unfold every episode. So I think episode 1 is definitely the better episode out of the 2.
Yeah, that's fair. So let us know what you think. Have you checked out Snowpiercer? Have you been put off by the reviews of Snowpiercer and that's why you've not watched it? yeah, let us know. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at GetRealPod. Let us know what you'd like to see. Let us know your thoughts on Snowpiercer, how it fares up for you versus the film versus the TV series. You can also hit us up on email at getrealpoduk@gmail.com if you want to let us know your thoughts there and send in any suggestions for the show. Chris, how can listeners support us?
You can support us by leaving us a rate and review on your favourite podcast network, especially Apple Podcast. Follow us on Spotify. They are the best places to find us.
Perfect. And share us with your friends as well. Make sure you share us on your socials, or if you've got a friend like I have, Chris, that might want to check out a cool podcast. I'll be
maybe
like,
I do.
Chris, have you listened to Get Real Pod yet?
I've not. Wow, it sounds great. Also, did you know that Get Real Pod is available on YouTube, so you can subscribe to us there and like the videos when they go live at 7 o'clock every Monday morning?
Oh my word. No,
Wow.
I actually don't know whether I subscribe to our YouTube channel. I will have to check.
You're not one of our four subscribers.
Damn. No, probably not. But if you do like to listen to stuff in the background on YouTube, we are there as well. And there will be video content coming eventually. It's just a bit of a weird time, obviously, with with C19 and everything happening. And, me and Chris are still socially distancing. So we're recording this remotely. So anyway, hope you're all staying safe out there. Thank you very, very much for checking out this podcast and taking the time to listen to it. Let us know thoughts on first impressions as well. Is this something you'd like to see more of? Did you enjoy this? A little bit shorter version of an episode. And we will see you next time.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
Choo choo.
I was literally about to choo-choo and I didn't think you were going to do it.
Beat you to it. Beat you to it.
Beat you to it.
I'm getting in the first carriage, mate.
Bam, 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 bam. Thomas the Tank Engine.